Listen up. You already know this isn't for everybody. This is for the ones who made one decision that rewired their entire life. This is for the ones who stopped asking permission. This is for you. You remember that moment. Don't pretend you don't. That split second where everything in you said, if I do this, there's no going back. Your hands felt steady, but your chest was loud. Not fear, clarity. The kind of clarity that only shows up when you're done being played with. And you made the move, not loud, not dramatic, not for applause, just final. That was the moment you stopped being predictable. That was the moment people couldn't read you anymore. That was the moment you stopped explaining yourself to people who never listened anyway. See, before that decision, they thought you were safe. They thought you were flexible. They thought you'd bend like always. They thought you'd overthink, delay, soften the blow, make it easier for them to digest. And then you didn't. You didn't give a warning speech. You didn't ask how they'd feel about it. You didn't workshop the decision with people who benefit from you staying small. You just acted, and something snapped, in a good way. Because here's the part nobody talks about. Power doesn't come from confidence. Confidence comes after power. Power comes from proving to yourself that when the moment arrived, you didn't flinch. That split-second decision trained your nervous system. It told your brain, we're not surviving anymore. We're choosing. It taught your soul that discomfort isn't danger. It taught your spine how to stay straight under pressure. After that, everything changed. Your silence started hitting different. Your no didn't sound negotiable anymore. Your presence felt heavier, even when you said nothing. People started watching you closer, not because you were louder, because you were unpredictable. See, predictable people get managed. Unpredictable people get respected and feared, and sometimes quietly resented. You noticed it, didn't you? The way conversations shifted when you walked in, the way certain people stopped testing you, the way others suddenly started acting polite. Too polite. Because they felt it. They felt that you crossed an internal line you'll never uncross. That decision burned something out of you. The version that kept giving chances past their expiration date. The version that kept rationalizing disrespect. The version that kept saying, maybe next time will be different. You stopped negotiating with reality. And here's the part that messes with people the most. You didn't become cruel. You became clear. You didn't turn cold. You turned precise. You didn't lose empathy. You just stopped bleeding it out for people who never planned to heal you. That's why they can't fuck with you anymore. Because now, when someone tries you, you don't explode. You don't argue. You don't chase closure. You calculate. You let silence do the damage. You let consequences speak. You let distance replace drama. And deep down, they know, if pushed, you'll make the hard call again, without shaking, without explaining, without looking back. That's terrifying to people who live on leverage. Because you're not powered by approval anymore. You're powered by self-trust. That split-second decision didn't just change your situation, it changed your identity. You stopped asking, what if this goes wrong? And started asking, what happens if I don't do this? You stopped being controlled by outcomes. You became controlled by standards, and standards don't beg. That's why your energy feels different now, why your boundaries don't wobble, why your words land harder even when you whisper them. You're not aggressive, you're anchored, you're not dominant, you're done. Done being underestimated, done being overextended, done being available to people who only show up when they need something. And the funniest part? they still don't know what that move cost you. They didn't feel the nights you replayed it in your head. They didn't feel the loneliness that came with choosing yourself. They didn't feel the internal war you won quietly. All they see now is the result. A person who won't fold, a person who won't chase, a person who won't tolerate half steps and mixed energy. Someone who can walk away mid-sentence if respect disappears. That split-second decision taught the world something important about you. That if it ever comes down to it again, you'll choose yourself. Every single time. And that choice rewired how you move through every room after that. You don't rush anymore. You don't over-explain. You don't perform urgency for people who wouldn't show up for you in a real crisis. You clock everything. Tone shifts, micro-disrespect, energy that feels off by half a degree. Stuff you used to ignore because you were trying to be understanding. You're still understanding. You just understand patterns faster. That's the part people miss. They think you got colder. They think you got ruthless. They think something dark took over. Nah. You just stopped gaslighting yourself. You stopped arguing with what your gut has been screaming since day one. You stopped needing proof stacked 10 layers high before you acted. You stopped waiting for betrayal to be obvious enough to justify leaving. That split-second decision trained you to trust the first signal. And once you trust that, nobody can manipulate you with confusion anymore. Because confusion was the leash. They used to keep you in endless conversations. Endless, let's talk about it. Endless, you're misunderstanding me. Endless delays that drained you until you doubted your own reality. That doesn't work on you anymore. You don't chase clarity from people who benefit from you staying unsure. You don't debate boundaries with people who already crossed them. You don't try to win arguments that were designed to exhaust you. You just disengage. And disengagement is loud. Silence hits harder than yelling ever did. Absence hits harder than confrontation ever did. Certainty hits harder than anger ever did. That's why they feel it when you pull back. Because when you move, it's clean. No emotional mess. No back and forth. No apology tour. You don't slam doors. You remove access. And access was the privilege they didn't know they were about to lose. You learned something brutal and beautiful at the same time. People only respect boundaries they think you'll enforce. And you enforce yours without announcing it. That split-second decision taught your nervous system that you can survive discomfort without collapsing. That rejection doesn't kill you. That loneliness isn't the enemy. That self-betrayal costs more than being misunderstood. Once you know that, fear loses its leverage. That's why pressure doesn't bend you the way it used to. Deadlines, ultimatums, emotional blackmail disguised as concern. You see it instantly. You don't panic when someone threatens to walk away. You don't scramble when someone pulls affection to regain control. You don't chase people who test how little they can give and still keep you. Because that decision already answered the biggest question you ever had to face. Can you choose yourself when it costs you people? You already did. Everything after that is lighter, not easier. Lighter. You move with a kind of calm that unnerves insecure people. You don't need to prove strength because you've already tested it. You don't need to dominate because your presence already sets the tone. People feel that you won't hesitate if it ever comes down to it again. That's what makes you dangerous in the quietest way. Not reckless, not loud, not unstable, certain. Certain people can't control you. Certain situations can't trap you. Certain games don't work on you anymore. You still laugh, you still care, you still show love, just not at the expense of your spine. You don't shrink to keep peace. You don't dilute truth to be liked. You don't trade self-respect for temporary comfort. That split-second decision lives in your posture, in how you pause before responding, in how you walk away mid-conversation when the vibe turns sideways. No scene, no explanation, just consequence. And deep down, everyone who interacts with you can feel it. They might not be able to name it. They just know they can't push you the way they push others. They know you won't crack under pressure. They know you won't betray yourself to keep them comfortable. That's why they watch what they say around you. That's why they choose their moves carefully. That's why some people disappear completely. Because you remind them of the version of themselves they were too scared to become. And you carry that reminder effortlessly. And that reminder sits under your skin like a low hum, always on, always steady. You don't announce your growth. You don't post cryptic captions trying to be understood. You don't need witnesses to validate what shifted inside you. The shift shows up in how you pause before reacting, in how you let people finish talking because you're already reading between the lines, in how you stop responding the second respect leaves the room. You used to feel bad about that pause. You used to worry it made you seem distant or arrogant or changed. Truth is, you did change. You learned that reacting fast was a habit built from survival. You learned that explaining yourself over and over was a trauma response dressed up as communication. You learned that staying accessible to everyone was never kindness. It was fear of being alone. That split-second decision burned those habits down. You don't feel the need to fill silence anymore. You let it stretch. You let it expose people. Silence makes liars nervous. Silence makes manipulators overplay their hand. Silence reveals who needs control more than connection. You watch it happen in real time. People start talking more. They start justifying things you never accused them of. They start telling on themselves while you sit there calm, steady, unreadable. That's not manipulation. That's awareness. You stopped confusing emotional intensity with truth. You stopped mistaking familiarity for loyalty. You stopped giving front-row access to people who only wanted the benefits without the responsibility. And yeah, some people call it cold. Funny thing is, you're warmer than you've ever been, just not reckless with it. Your energy has a filter now. Your trust has terms. Your attention has weight. That makes people adjust. The ones who respect you rise to the occasion. They get clearer. They get cleaner with their words. They meet you where you stand instead of asking you to step down. The others fade out quietly or explode on the way out. Both outcomes tell you everything. You don't chase the exits. You don't block with rage. You don't do victory laps. You just keep moving with that same internal alignment you locked into the day you made that decision. The day you realized nobody was coming to save you from your own hesitation. The day you realized peace doesn't come from keeping everyone happy. The day you realized strength isn't loud, it's consistent. Your nervous system remembers that moment. Under pressure, you slow down instead of speeding up. Under stress, your voice stays even. Under confrontation, your eyes don't drop. People feel that before you say a word. They feel that you're not desperate for approval. They feel that you're not afraid of being disliked. They feel that you're not bluffing. Because bluffing comes from doubt. You don't threaten. You don't posture. You don't hint. You decide. That's why people don't test you twice. The first time they try to cross you and realize there's no emotional reaction to exploit, Something clicks in their head. They understand they're dealing with someone who already walked through their worst fear and came back intact. You already chose yourself once, when it mattered. That makes you unmovable in moments that paralyze other people. You don't spiral when plans fall apart. You don't panic when things get quiet. You don't cling when energy shifts. You adapt without abandoning yourself. That's rare. Most people fold under pressure because they're still negotiating with their own worth. They're still asking permission to take up space. They're still afraid of the consequences of being fully seen. You're not. You've already paid the price. That split-second decision charged interest. It cost you comfort. It cost you certain relationships. It cost you the illusion of safety. What it gave you back was leverage over your own life. You don't need to control people. You control access. You control proximity. You control how much of you anyone gets. And that control isn't loud. It's in the way you stand still while others fidget. It's in the way you listen without absorbing chaos. It's in the way you walk away without burning bridges or begging to be followed. People who know. They feel it in your timing. They feel it in your restraint. They feel it in the way you don't flinch when things get uncomfortable. That's not fearlessness. That's experience. And experience sharpens instincts into something people can't talk their way around. You don't need hype to move anymore. You don't need motivation speeches playing in the background just to function. You wake up already calibrated, bills due, deadlines stacked, messages left unread because you're busy handling real life. You don't romanticize the grind, but you don't complain about it either. You understand pressure is the rent you pay for becoming dangerous. That decision taught you how to sit with weight on your chest without folding. Taught you how to keep moving even when nobody's clapping. Taught you how to build momentum quietly while other people announce plans they never finish. You stopped oversharing wins, stopped explaining losses, stopped leaking strategy to people who confuse curiosity with entitlement. Your circle got smaller, your focus got sharper, your tolerance for nonsense evaporated. Not in a dramatic way, in a surgical way. You don't argue with chaos. You don't try to out-talk disrespect. You don't correct people who already decided who they think you are. You let outcomes do the talking. That's Joker-level clarity, not madness. Awareness pushed past politeness. You see the game for what it is. Who's posturing, who's bluffing, who's testing boundaries because they've never been checked before. And when someone tries that old move on you, the guilt trip, the rush, the fake urgency, you don't react, you breathe. Because you remember how fast everything changed the last time you trusted your instinct instead of your fear. You remember the click, the internal lock snapping into place. The realization that hesitation was the only thing keeping you in reach. People feel that memory in you. It's in your eyes when you don't rush to respond. It's in your tone when you say less and mean more. It's in the way you don't need to threaten consequences. For them to understand there are consequences. You don't seek control. You embody finality. That makes certain people uncomfortable. They start projecting, calling you distant, calling you cold, calling you different. Like it's an accusation. Different from what? From the version they could guilt, stall, or corner. That version doesn't exist anymore. You outgrew it the moment you chose action over reassurance. The moment you realized nobody hands you authority, you claim it through behavior. That's why you don't beg for respect. You don't remind people of your value. You don't negotiate standards with anyone who benefits from lowering them. You carry yourself like someone who already survived the worst-case scenario. And that's the cheat code. when you're not afraid of losing people, situations, or comfort. Manipulation loses oxygen. When you're not desperate to be understood, silence becomes a weapon. When you're not scared of standing alone, alignment becomes addictive. You move cleaner because there's no internal argument anymore. No debate, no second guessing, just choice after choice, stacking into identity. People watch that and feel exposed. They feel their own hesitation reflected back at them. They feel the weight of all the moments they talked themselves out of becoming dangerous. They feel the distance between who they are and who they keep postponing. And you don't need to say a word about it. You keep showing up grounded. You keep handling your business. You keep choosing yourself without announcing it. Every interaction recalibrates the room. Every decision reinforces the signal. Every time you walk away clean, it leaves an echo. Not because you're trying to intimidate anyone, because certainty is louder than noise. And that certainty keeps growing every time pressure shows up and you don't blink. And that pressure doesn't scare you anymore. It sharpens you in real time. You notice it when things get chaotic and your mind stays weirdly quiet. When everyone else starts talking faster, explaining louder, justifying harder, you slow down. You don't rush to fix the vibe. You don't rush to save the moment. You let it reveal itself. That's a different kind of confidence, not the loud kind. The kind that comes from knowing you can walk away from almost anything and still be okay. You don't need instant validation. You don't need the room to agree with you. You don't need to win the argument to win the situation. You've already won something bigger. You've won control over your own reactions. That's why bait doesn't work anymore. The slick comments, the passive-aggressive jokes, the subtle disrespect wrapped in humor. You clock it, you store it, you adjust access. No explosion, no lecture, just a shift. And people feel that shift immediately. They start second-guessing what they say around you. They start replaying conversations in their head. They start wondering if they crossed a line they can't uncross. Because you don't chase closure. You don't demand apologies. You don't need people to admit anything out loud. Your absence does the accounting. That's Joker energy, not chaos for attention, but control without mercy for nonsense. A smile that doesn't explain itself. A calm that feels unsettling because it's earned. You stopped mistaking intensity for importance. Stopped confusing loud emotions with real leverage. Stopped thinking every problem needs a reaction. Some problems dissolve when you stop feeding them. You don't try to change people anymore. You let them show you exactly who they are under pressure. You let their behavior answer questions you used to overthink for months. That saves time. That saves energy. That saves your sanity. You used to exhaust yourself trying to be fair, trying to be patient, trying to be the bigger person in rooms that rewarded disrespect. You still have integrity. You just don't martyr yourself for it. Your integrity has edges now. You can feel it in your body. Your shoulders don't hunch when conflict shows up. Your voice doesn't crack when stakes get high. Your breathing stays steady even when tension spikes. People notice that before they consciously register it. They sense they can't rush you. They sense they can't corner you. They sense you're not desperate for resolution. Desperation is what used to make you accessible. That split-second decision cured that. You don't fear endings. You don't cling to roles you've outgrown. You don't stay loyal to situations that quietly disrespect you. You understand something most people never sit with long enough to learn. Being alone for a while is cheaper than being surrounded by people who drain you. Discomfort is cheaper than self-betrayal. Listen up. The one they keep side-eyeing. The one the room went quiet for. The one everybody suddenly started whispering about, like your name flipped a switch in the air. You feel it, don't you? That weird tension, that pause, that moment where everyone felt something shift, but nobody can explain it out loud. Because here's the thing, they all saw it, every single one of them, and not a damn one of them can explain what the hell you just did. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't announce anything. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't even look like you were trying. And that's what's driving them insane. See, they're used to noise. They're used to people begging to be noticed. They're used to fake confidence, rehearsed bravado, loud mouths with empty cores. They understand that world. They've memorized its rules. But you didn't play by those rules. You walked in different. You moved different. You carried something they couldn't label. And that's terrifying to people who live off labels. Because the moment they can't explain you, they can't control you. They felt it when you spoke less, but meant more. They felt it when you didn't flinch where others would have folded. They felt it when you didn't chase validation, didn't reach for applause, didn't look around to see who was watching, because you already knew. That silence you created, that wasn't awkwardness. That was impact. That was the sound of expectations breaking. They're replaying it in their heads right now, over and over. Did you notice that? What was that? Why did that feel different? And they hate that they don't have an answer, because deep down, they know something snapped into place for you in that moment. Something internal, something irreversible. You stopped performing. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped shrinking to fit rooms that never deserved your full presence. You didn't dominate the space. You changed it. That's the part nobody teaches you. That real power doesn't shout. It doesn't posture. It doesn't need to prove anything. Real power just exists, and everything else adjusts around it whether it likes it or not. And now they're uncomfortable, because they can sense it. You're not the same version of you they had filed away in their heads. You're not predictable anymore. You're not easy to read. You're not reacting the way you're supposed to. You're calm where they expected panic, centered where they expected chaos, focused where they expected emotion. That throws people off, badly, especially the ones who thought they had you figured out. They're trying to explain it with logic, with gossip, with theories that make them feel safe again. But nothing sticks, because the truth is way simpler and way scarier. You stopped asking who you were allowed to be. You made a decision internally that didn't need an announcement. You crossed a line inside yourself that most people never even see. And once that happens, everything changes. Your posture shifts. Your eyes look different. Your words land heavier. Even when you say less, people feel that instinctively. That's why they're watching you now. That's why conversations pause when you enter. That's why the energy gets strange. You didn't just do something. You became something. And becoming is way more dangerous than doing, because actions can be explained away. But transformation, that scares the hell out of people. They can't explain it because if they could, they'd have to admit what it means. They'd have to admit that you're no longer operating from fear or approval or the need to belong. You're operating from alignment, and alignment doesn't ask permission. You see it in their faces, the confusion, the curiosity, the slight edge of resentment, because some of them know exactly what you tapped into, and they've been too scared to touch it themselves. They'll test you now. They'll poke. They'll try to pull the old version of you back out. Not because you did something wrong, but because you disrupted the balance they were comfortable with. Let them squirm, let them wonder, let them ask each other, what the hell just happened? Because the truth is, you didn't break the room, you broke the illusion. And once that illusion cracks, there's no going back to playing small, no going back to explaining yourself, no going back to being digestible, convenient, or easily understood. You're not here to make sense to everyone, because once people feel you instead of understanding you, you stop being something they can manage. That's when the energy shifts in subtle ways. Phones come out slower, laughter sounds forced. People who used to talk over you suddenly wait to hear what you're going to say next. Not because you demanded attention, but because attention found you without asking. You didn't announce growth. You didn't post a quote about it. You didn't make a big speech explaining your mindset. You just showed up different. And that messes with people who built their comfort around the old version of you. They remember when you used to over-explain, when you used to doubt yourself mid-sentence, when you'd second-guess your own instincts just to keep the peace. That version made sense to them. This one doesn't. This version looks like someone who's already accepted the worst-case scenario and survived it internally. Someone who's not afraid of being misunderstood because you already spent years being overlooked. Someone who knows silence can be louder than reaction and restraint can be more intimidating than aggression. They're trying to pinpoint the moment it happened. Was it the way you didn't react? Was it the way you held eye contact a second longer than expected? Was it the way you didn't rush to fill the silence? They keep replaying it because their nervous system clocked something before their brain could catch up. You stopped leaking energy. You stopped giving emotional refunds to people who never paid full price for access to you in the first place. And people feel that withdrawal instantly. The Joker figured this out a long time ago. Chaos isn't screaming. Chaos is smiling when everyone expects fear. Chaos is staying calm when the script says panic. Chaos is refusing to perform the role they assigned you. You didn't flip the table. You walked away from it. And that's more unsettling than any outburst could ever be. Because when you stop reacting, people are forced to confront themselves. Their insecurity gets louder, their assumptions fall apart, their power over you evaporates quietly, and quiet losses hurt the most. They're asking each other questions they don't want answers to. Did we underestimate you? When did you stop needing us? Why does it feel like you're 5 steps ahead? They can't explain it because explanation would require admitting you outgrew the dynamic, that you saw through the game, that you realized most people aren't confident. They're just loud enough to drown out their own doubt. You don't need to dominate to unsettle a room. You just need to be unmoved. That's why your presence feels heavier now. That's why your absence is noticed. That's why even your stillness feels intentional. You're no longer broadcasting uncertainty. You're conserving power. And when someone does that, the whole system starts acting strange around them. Rules get bent. Expectations change. People start treating you carefully, like they're not sure which version of reality applies to you anymore. They keep asking, "What did you just do?" But the real question underneath it is way more personal. What do we do now that you're not who we thought you were? Because once you stop playing the role that kept everyone else comfortable, you become a variable, unpredictable, hard to box, hard to dismiss, hard to manipulate. That's when respect sneaks in wearing confusion. That's when fear disguises itself as curiosity. That's when you realize the shift wasn't external at all. It was internal, quiet, precise, and ruthless in the most controlled way possible. You didn't become louder, you became undeniable. And that undeniability sits on you differently than confidence ever did. Confidence used to shake when the room shifted. This doesn't. This stays steady when energy turns weird. This doesn't rush to smooth things over or make people comfortable. This watches, this waits, this understands timing. People are realizing you're not here to be liked in the moment. You're here to be remembered after it. That's why their jokes land flat around you. That's why their opinions sound rehearsed. That's why even the loudest ones feel slightly off balance in your presence, like they're performing for an audience that stopped clapping a while ago. You're not reacting on impulse anymore. You're responding from somewhere deeper, somewhere colder, somewhere clearer. You already ran the worst scenarios in your head at 3 in the morning. You already faced the fear when nobody was watching. You already survived the version of this where it all went wrong. That's why nothing rattles you the way it used to. They think something external changed. Status, money, influence, recognition. They keep scanning for evidence because they can't accept that the shift came from inside. From a quiet decision you made when you got tired of explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped negotiating your worth. You stopped giving access to anyone who showed up with conditions. You stopped mistaking familiarity for loyalty. That kind of clarity rewires how you move through the world. Your walk slows down. Your voice evens out. Your reactions sharpen instead of exploding. You don't rush to correct people anymore. You let them reveal themselves. And that's Joker-level unsettling. Because chaos isn't random. Chaos is controlled unpredictability. Chaos is knowing exactly who you are while everyone else is guessing. Chaos is smiling at the irony of people scrambling to label you after ignoring you for so long. They're realizing you don't need their approval to operate. That you're not fueled by praise or paralyzed by criticism. That both slide off you the same way. Acknowledged, then discarded. You've outgrown the need to be understood by people who never tried to see you clearly in the first place. That's why you don't argue anymore. That's why you don't defend your choices. That's why explanations feel unnecessary. Your life started speaking for you. Your restraint started doing the talking. Your consistency started exposing who was only around for the old version that needed validation to function. They feel the distance, even when you're standing right there. Because mentally, you're already somewhere else. You're operating from intent instead of reaction, from self-respect instead of fear, from awareness instead of impulse. That internal shift changes the way time feels around you. Conversations stretch, moments linger. People second-guess themselves mid-sentence. They're not sure where they stand with you anymore. And uncertainty makes people honest in ways comfort never does. You notice who mirrors your energy and who tries to provoke a response. You notice who leans in with curiosity and who backs away when they can't read you. You notice who respects the silence and who can't stand it. That silence isn't emptiness. It's pressure. It's the kind of pressure that exposes cracks. You didn't harden into something bitter. You refined into something precise. Less emotional leakage, fewer wasted words, more intentional presence, more control over what gets access to your attention. People don't know how to interact with someone who's no longer hungry for their reactions. That's why they keep asking what you did. They felt a shift they can't reverse. A line crossed without drama. A version of you that doesn't chase, doesn't flinch, doesn't fold under social pressure. They're standing in the aftermath of a decision you made quietly, while they were too busy projecting expectations onto you. And the unsettling part for them isn't that you changed. It's that you're finally acting like you always knew exactly who you were the whole time. And that realization hits people in waves they don't know how to process, because they start questioning their own instincts around you. The same instincts they trusted for years suddenly feel unreliable. They misread your silence. They underestimate your restraint. They assume calm means passive and forget how dangerous calm can be when it's deliberate. You're not detached. You're dialed in. Every move you make feels measured without looking calculated. Every word you choose feels light, but it lands heavy. You're not overthinking anymore. You're seeing patterns, behaviors, intentions, the way people only show respect when they sense leverage, the way admiration shows up late when it's no longer needed. You caught on. And that awareness changed your posture toward the world. You don't rush energy anymore. You don't fill space just to feel included. You don't laugh to soften the room or nod to keep things smooth. You allow discomfort to sit. You allow pauses to stretch. You allow people to reveal what they're really operating from when the mask slips. That's where the real information lives. Some people feel exposed around you and don't know why. Others feel oddly calm, like they can finally drop the act. Both reactions tell you everything you need to know. You've stopped confusing intensity with importance. You've stopped confusing noise with influence. You've stopped confusing proximity with connection. That's why people can't pin you down anymore. You don't move out of insecurity, and you don't freeze under pressure. You don't need to dominate the room to change its temperature. You just exist without apology, without explanation, without seeking permission to be where you are. That unsettles anyone who built their identity on being louder, sharper, more aggressive. They don't know how to compete with someone who isn't competing. You can see it in the way they test boundaries subtly. Backhanded comments, half jokes, small power plays disguised as curiosity. They're fishing for the old reaction, the one that used to give them confirmation they mattered in your internal world. It never comes, and the absence of that reaction hits harder than confrontation ever could. You're not cold. You're selective. You're not distant. You're intentional. You're not closed off. You're guarded with precision. That level of self-possession doesn't come from confidence workshops or motivational quotes. It comes from sitting alone with your thoughts long enough to stop lying to yourself. From realizing nobody is coming to validate the life you want. From understanding that being misunderstood is a small price to pay for being aligned. That's Joker energy in its purest form. Not chaos for attention, but clarity that destabilizes everyone still living on autopilot. You smile differently because you're not trying to signal friendliness or threat. You're signaling presence. People read into it because they're unsure what story to attach to you anymore. You're not following the script they memorized, and scripts are how people stay comfortable. You've become the kind of person who doesn't need to explain their absence or justify their focus. The kind of person whose calm makes others reevaluate their own urgency. The kind of person who can sit in a room full of opinions and not absorb any of them unless they're useful. That's when influence starts working backwards. People start adjusting to you. They start choosing words carefully. They start checking themselves mid-sentence. They start wondering if you already see through whatever angle they were about to try. You do, and you don't rush to expose it. Because power isn't in calling things out. Power is in seeing clearly and deciding what deserves your energy. You didn't become untouchable overnight. You became untouchable the moment you stopped needing to be understood to keep moving forward. And that forward motion carries a different kind of gravity with it. It's subtle, but it pulls. People lean in without realizing they are. They ask questions they didn't plan to ask. They hesitate before saying things they used to throw around casually. You've become the pause in the conversation, the moment where everyone recalculates. You're not intimidating, you're exact. That precision comes from knowing what you're willing to lose. Comfort, approval, familiar faces, old access. You already made peace with all of it when you realized most people weren't attached to you. They were attached to the version of you that made their lives easier. Once you see that, attachment loosens its grip. You don't cling to outcomes anymore. You don't chase reactions. You don't replay conversations in your head, trying to figure out how to be received better. You say what needs to be said when it needs to be said, and you leave the rest where it belongs. With them. That's why your presence feels heavier without being aggressive. You're not trying to win exchanges. You're not collecting points. You're not proving intelligence or depth. You already know what you're capable of, and self-awareness has a way of silencing unnecessary noise. People mistake that for mystery. It's not mystery, it's discipline. Discipline in what you reveal. Discipline in where you invest attention. Discipline in how you respond. When tested, you don't snap. You don't flinch. You don't rush to correct misconceptions that don't affect your direction. You let people misunderstand you all the way into irrelevance. That's when they start scrambling for explanations again. They tell themselves stories that make your evolution easier to swallow. You changed. You got lucky. Something happened to you. Anything that avoids the truth that you simply stopped betraying yourself to keep things familiar. That decision sharpens everything. Your intuition gets louder, your tolerance gets narrower, your standards rise quietly without announcement. You notice how many interactions are just negotiations for emotional control. You notice how often people confuse access with entitlement. You stopped confusing them, too. That's why you don't overshare. That's why your wins stay private longer. That's why your plans aren't up for group discussion. You're building something internal that doesn't need a committee's approval. People sense that independence and don't know where to place it. Some respect it instinctively, some resent it immediately. Both reactions confirm the same thing. You're no longer operating from the same level they are. Your calm isn't passive, it's fortified. It's built from nights where you chose growth over distraction, from moments where you swallowed the urge to react and watched the situation collapse on its own, from realizing you don't need to be present for every conflict to win it. You started playing the long game without announcing you changed games. That's Joker logic in real life. Smile less for effect, more for understanding. Watch patterns instead of people. Let time expose what emotion used to cloud. Move when alignment hits, not when pressure mounts. People keep asking what you did because they're trying to trace a cause they can imitate. They want the shortcut without the solitude, the result without the internal audit, the presence without the discipline that built it. They don't see the hours you spent dismantling your own excuses, the conversations you had with yourself where denial lost, the moments you chose, restraint over release and clarity over comfort. Well, well, well. Look who decided to show up. You, the main character in a story none of them were ready for. And let me just say, You walked in loud, without even making a sound. Your name alone did what most people couldn't do with a megaphone. It shut. The whole room up. You know what I mean? Like suddenly, boom, their phones start buzzing. Who the F is this person? Message after message, flying like bullets in a war zone they didn't train for. They weren't ready. Oh no, see? They thought they were safe in that little group chat. That cozy little judgment zone, where they feel powerful behind screens, where they pick people apart like vultures at a carcass buffet. Only problem is, you're not a carcass. You're the damn meteor. The one they never saw coming until the heat singed their eyebrows off. Let me paint it for you. They see your new post, and suddenly, the energy shifts. The air in the chat gets tense. Wait, this person? Why are they everywhere all of a sudden? Who the F is this? Why is everyone talking about them? Why are they getting attention I thought we deserved? Yeah, that's the sound of insecurity panicking in real time. Not curiosity, not interest. No. This is threat-level whispering. They're not asking who you are. They're trying to figure out how they missed your rise. Because people like you weren't supposed to get up. They knew your past. They saw your bruises. They remember who you used to be. But now you're moving like someone with a damn vendetta and a GPS. You've got direction. You've got pace. You've got the nerve to glow in their shadows. And it's got them spiraling. You know what's funny? They could have cheered for you. They could have said, "Damn, look at them go. That's inspiring." But no, they got jealous because your existence exposed their laziness. You grind while they gossip. You build while they bicker. You elevate while they echo the same tired complaints like a broken Bluetooth speaker. You made them realize they wasted time watching, and now they're in recovery mode, trying to convince each other you don't matter, that your glow-up must be fake, that you're probably just lucky, that it's a phase, that someone must be helping you. Because there's no way you pulled this off alone, right? Right? See, that's the thing about people with no imagination. They don't believe in miracles until you become one. They're not asking who you are out of admiration. They're asking because deep down, they know. They fumbled the chance to respect you before you became undeniable. And that hurts them. You were once the one they skimmed past, the one they overlooked at the party, the one they didn't text back, the one they didn't believe in. But now their whole group chat looks like a crime scene report, circling your name, screenshotting your wins, dissecting your every move like you're a case study in how the F did they do this. And you just keep moving, not explaining, not slowing down, because you get it now, don't you? You understand that greatness doesn't announce itself. It whispers until it roars, and when it roars, it drowns out all that background noise. You're not here for their comfort. You're not here for their approval. You're not even here for revenge. You're here to reconstruct the entire narrative. Your presence disrupts. Your success redefines. Your aura intimidates because it's not trying to. It just does. Let me tell you something personal. They don't hate you. They hate how they feel about themselves when they see you. They hate the reminder that while they were laughing at you, you were plotting, healing, working, becoming. They hate that your silence was louder than their entire timeline. That your grind outlasted their gossip. That your rise forced them to look inward. And they didn't like what they saw. Look, I know it gets lonely. I know sometimes you wish just one person would say, "Damn, I see you. You're killing it." But here's the truth. Their silence is the proof. Their group chat is the receipt. Their confusion is the confirmation. They may not clap for you publicly, but in private, they're trying to decode you like a glitch in the matrix. You broke their formula. You were supposed to fail louder than you succeeded, but instead, you succeeded so hard they started whispering. And that's power. That's legacy being born in the minds of people who once forgot you existed. Now they can't stop thinking about you, can't stop watching, can't stop discussing you like you're some unsolved mystery. You know what you do now, exactly what you've been doing. Say nothing. Move with elegance and edge. Let them ask, "Who the fuck is this?" And never answer. Let your work answer. Let your presence answer. Let your glow disturb their slumber like a nightmare they can't unsee. You didn't need their permission to rise. You just needed the silence to build. And now, you are the noise. Now you are the disruption. Now you are the headline in a conversation that wasn't supposed to be about you. They underestimated you. Now they're rewriting the whole story just to explain how they missed it, how they missed you. And they'll keep whispering, because legends don't need introductions. They make the whole world ask, "Who the F is this person?" Look, you ever realize how people only get loud after you've already passed them? Like, they ain't saying nothing when you were quiet, figuring it out, bleeding behind the scenes, drowning in your own thoughts at 3 a.m. wondering if you were ever gonna make it out. But the second you start pulling yourself together, just a little bit of traction, suddenly it's, who does this person think they are? Why are they acting brand new? I liked them better before. Of course you did, because before they felt taller standing next to your brokenness, because before your silence made their mediocrity echo louder, because before you were predictable, and predictable people are easy to mock, easy to manage, easy to dismiss. But now you move like a glitch in their system. They can't clock you, can't label you, can't box you in and tape it shut like they used to. You started walking different, eyes forward, shoulders loose, mind sharp. That aura hit the room first, and the room's been tense ever since. They don't say it out loud, but it's all over their faces. That panicked look when they realized the version of you they had stored in their heads just expired. No warning, no grace period, just poof, gone. And in its place, something they can't define, can't decode, can't dismiss. You're not just evolving, you're disrupting. They keep asking each other, who the F is this? Like your transformation was some kind of scandal. Nah, this ain't a scandal. This is a resurrection, and every message they send behind your back is another confession that they feel it. Because if you didn't matter, they wouldn't whisper. If you weren't dangerous, they wouldn't huddle in secret. You don't organize group chats for people who are irrelevant. This is what happens when you heal so hard. It makes people question whether they ever really knew you. When your name alone sparks paranoia. When your progress pulls receipts on all the trash they spoke with their whole chest. They swore you were finished, but now they gotta watch you build, with no blueprint, no cheerleaders, and no breaks. You became a mirror they didn't ask for. Every time they look at you, they see a version of themselves they never had the courage to unlock. You walked through every hell they prayed would burn you down, and you came back colder, sharper, unbothered. You came back with presence, with power, with receipts. You're not just making moves, you're making people uncomfortable in their comfort zones. The chat's not about you because they care. It's about you because they can't ignore you anymore. Because ignoring you used to work. Now it doesn't. You've shifted the algorithm, real-world energy, You post, they pause. You speak, they scan. You walk in, and their whole vibe glitches like a Wi-Fi signal in a thunderstorm. They pretend they don't see it, but they're watching like their reputation depends on understanding your next move. They can't figure out if you're a threat, a warning, or a prophecy. All they know is you're nothing like the version of you they thought they left behind. And that scares the hell out of them. Because if you can evolve like that, after everything you went through, then what's their excuse if the one they all wrote off, the one they used to laugh at in between gossip and cheap validation, if that person can turn all the way around and become this walking pressure point, then it means they've been wasting time. It means all the pity they dished out, useless. All the superiority they clung to, fake. All that smug little head start they thought they had, gone. And they feel it, that tightening in their chest when your name pops up. That need to over-explain when someone brings you up in conversation. That weird silence when your success comes up in the room. You didn't even say anything, but your existence pulled a trigger. They say stuff like, they think they're better than us now. But you never said that. You never had to say that. Because deep down, they know. They know they played small while you played dead. They know they fed off your doubt like it was candy, and now they're choking on your comeback. You didn't rise with claps. You rose with receipts. And every new level you reach is a slap to the version of you they thought would never recover. You're not being talked about because you're loud. You're being talked about because you're loud without saying a word. Because every time you show up, they feel like they gotta explain why they never believed in you. Every message is damage control. Every emoji is hiding fear. They're swapping theories like it's a damn FBI case file. Did you see their post? Who's helping them? How'd they get that opportunity? Who the F is this person? Like you didn't earn it. Like you weren't crawling through the fire when they were pretending they didn't see you. Like your evolution is suspicious just because it didn't come with an announcement or a breakdown for them to feel superior to. They don't want your life. They just don't want to feel small standing next to it. They want to control the narrative. But you've been too busy rewriting the entire plot line in real time. You stopped being relatable the moment you stopped asking for crumbs. The moment you stopped explaining your absence. The moment you stopped giving updates on your healing like it was their business. You didn't glow up for aesthetics. You rebuilt yourself with blood, sweat, and silence. You gave up your comfort zone like it owed you nothing. And that kind of energy, it's radioactive to people still sitting in their excuses. You're not the old you. You're not even the new you. You're the becoming, the in-between, the I'm not done yet, but I already shook your whole foundation without trying. They don't even know what to call you anymore. Friend, rival, threat, lesson. All they know is you showed up different, moved different, felt different, and they haven't stopped spiraling since. And every time you breathe, it's like a reminder that they fumbled the plot. You show up in the room and it's like someone dimmed the lights and turned the volume up on their own insecurities. They're scanning your face, your clothes, your tone, like they're trying to find a crack in the armor. Something to mock, something to diminish, anything they can use to make themselves feel taller without standing up. But they can't find it, because you didn't just level up. You outgrew the version of you they memorized. They studied the old you like a textbook, thought they had your whole personality figured out. But the test changed, the answers changed, and you're not even sitting in the same damn classroom anymore. You became foreign, unpredictable. too fluid for their little categories. And that's what really gets under their skin. That no matter how many times they try to sum you up in a sentence, you keep adding pages to the story. Twists they didn't see coming. Chapters they thought you were too weak to write. You're not a comeback. You're not a revenge arc. You're a whole new genre that doesn't fit their script. That group chat they're hiding in. It's their last attempt at control. Trying to hold on to the version of you they could laugh at, so they don't have to face the version of themselves they've been ignoring. It's wild, right? You don't even speak their names. You're not throwing shade. You're not sub-posting. You're just breathing, just existing. And it's enough to start fires in rooms you've never even stepped into. They don't need receipts. They are the receipts. Their paranoia is your proof. Their group chat is your echo chamber. Every time your name drops in there, it's like a glitch in their matrix. You became that unsolvable puzzle. That how did they do it? That, wait, weren't they struggling like 6 months ago? That, I thought we left them behind. Energy that just won't go away. You're haunting people who tried to bury you under fake smiles and forced silence. And the scariest part? You didn't even ask for that power. You just became it by surviving, by staying solid, by choosing evolution over approval. They keep refreshing your page like it's gonna give them closure. Keep dissecting your captions like there's a code hidden in there. Keep watching your growth like it's something they need to stop before it gets worse for their egos. But what they don't realize is you were never trying to be seen. You were just trying to be free. And that kind of freedom, that internal, unbothered, nothing to prove to anyone kind of freedom, it terrifies people who rely on attention to feel alive. It shakes the foundation they built their whole identity on. Because when you're good without the applause, when you're winning without the spotlight, when you don't need validation, recognition, or even a response, they start malfunctioning. Like, wait, how is this person growing and they're not even asking for attention? How are they glowing up and they didn't post a dramatic story about cutting people off? Because they thought the power was in the noise, in the shade throwing, in the flexing. But your silence hit harder than their whole highlight reel. You became a walking disruption. Your name triggers conversations they weren't ready to have. Not just about you, but about themselves. What they've been avoiding, what they've been procrastinating, what they've been blaming other people for while you were out here rebuilding your whole life, brick by brick. You didn't rise with a strategy. You rose with urgency, because it was either evolve or evaporate, either grow or stay stuck in that cycle of people-pleasing and second-guessing yourself every time someone raised an eyebrow. You stopped looking for permission, stopped waiting for someone to say, yeah, you're ready now. You decided you were ready, and that decision, it's louder than any post they've ever made. Now they're in the group chat, talking like they're trying to diagnose a glitch in the system. Why is everyone paying attention to them? They came out of nowhere. I don't get the hype. You are the hype, without even trying to be. You're the lesson they didn't sign up for. You're the reality check they didn't think they'd need. And they keep trying to write you off with backhanded compliments and forced jokes, like it's gonna make a dent in the truth that's been echoing louder every day. You made it out. You got up. You flipped the entire script without needing a cosign. They had time. Time to match your work ethic, time to focus on themselves, time to grow. But they used it to talk about you. They used it to laugh. They used it to gossip, and now they're behind. Behind in discipline, behind in self-respect, behind in emotional maturity. And every time they look at you, it stings a little deeper. Because you remind them of what consistency looks like when nobody's watching, of what inner power sounds like when it doesn't need a mic, of what healing looks like when it's not curated for clout. They weren't expecting you to come back whole, to come back level-headed, to come back dangerous in your peace. You're not loud, you're louder, because your energy walks in 10 minutes before you do. And the crazy part, you don't even notice it half the time, but they do, every single time. You walk in the building and their posture changes, like they felt something shift, but they can't quite explain it. Like the air just got heavier, but you're the only one breathing fine. They start straightening up, fixing their tone, fake smiling a little harder. Because you don't even have to say a word for the room to know who's in control of the energy now. It's wild, right? They used to treat you like a background character, like you were lucky to even be in the room. Like your story had a ceiling and they were already on the top floor looking down. But what they never accounted for, what they couldn't calculate, was your capacity to transform when nobody was watching. Not just improve. Transform, there's a difference. Improving is tweaking the surface. Transforming is breaking everything down to the studs and rebuilding it all from the soul out. And that's what you did. You didn't just elevate, you rewired your DNA. They kept showing up to the version of you they left behind. And every time they did, they got met with someone who doesn't flinch anymore. That's why they're unsettled, because they can't get the old reaction, can't trigger the old spiral, can't pull the old puppet strings. You're not performing anymore. You're present. You're locked in. You're moving like someone who finally believes their own power more than they fear other people's opinions. That's lethal. That's what's got them in group chats, texting fast, voice noting their panic, zooming in on your stories like it's an investigation file. You became the mystery they thought they'd already solved. Like, wait, weren't they supposed to be broken? Weren't they the one who had that meltdown? Didn't they go quiet for a while? Yeah, you went quiet. 'Cause that's what people do before the reveal, before the plot twist, before the whole narrative flips, and suddenly they're not the main character anymore. They keep trying to put your growth on a timeline they understand. But this ain't linear. This is quantum leap energy. This is disappear, evolve, and reappear 10 levels up with a calm face and unreadable silence. They're not used to that. They're used to people announcing every step, begging for validation, begging for followers, begging for relevance. You just became relevant by not needing to be, by moving in truth instead of trends, by turning your wounds into wisdom and wearing it like armor instead of shame. They don't even know what to call you anymore because nothing fits. You're not the underdog. You're not the comeback kid. You're not the quiet one or the forgotten one. You're the unrecognizable one. The one that makes people scroll back 3 times like, wait, is that really them? The one that sparks questions in their chest before their brain can catch up. You became the one they didn't prepare for. And when people can't prepare for you, they try to contain you with conversation, try to shrink you down with sarcasm, try to drag you back with doubt. But you stopped answering to doubt a long time ago. All right. My friend, listen up, you brilliant menace. Yeah, you, the one who's been quietly observing, absorbing, calculating while the room kept underestimating you. The one who smiled politely while they talked around you, not realizing they were standing next to a loaded weapon disguised as patience. let me greet you properly. Welcome to the moment they never prepared for. Welcome to the second where the fog lifts, the noise dies down, and something clicks so loud in their heads it rattles their bones. Because today, whether they admit it or not, they finally see you, and it terrifies them. For a long time, you were the too much one. Too intense, too quiet, too deep, too unpredictable. You didn't play along the way they wanted. You didn't move on their schedule. You didn't explain yourself enough to make them comfortable. And they mistook that for weakness. They mistook silence for emptiness. They mistook restraint for lack of power. That was their first mistake. You see, while they were busy chasing approval, you were building pattern recognition. While they were reacting emotionally to everything, you were studying human behavior like a chessboard. While they were flexing loud confidence, you were sharpening a mind that doesn't need permission to dominate a room. And then it happened. That look, that pause, that sudden awkward silence where nobody knows what to say next. Because it finally clicked. They realized you don't just think differently, you operate on a completely different level. You see angles they can't even comprehend yet. You connect dots they didn't know existed. You hear what isn't being said. You notice who shifts uncomfortably when the truth walks in. And the scariest part for them? You didn't even raise your voice. You didn't have to prove anything. You didn't need a dramatic reveal. Your presence alone exposed the gap between surface intelligence and God-level perception, between noise and clarity, between ego and awareness. That's when they stopped interrupting you. That's when they stopped joking. That's when the energy in the room changed. Because people don't go silent when they're unimpressed. They go silent when they realize they misjudged someone dangerous. You've been underestimated your whole life, haven't you? Labeled late, labeled different, labeled difficult, labeled not living up to potential by people who couldn't recognize potential if it punched them in the throat. You learned early that explaining yourself only made them more comfortable dismissing you. So you adapted, you observed, you waited, and patience became your unfair advantage. See, a God-level mind doesn't rush. It doesn't beg to be understood. It lets people talk themselves into exposing how limited they are. It lets egos burn out. It lets false confidence collapse under its own weight. And when the moment arrives, when the truth finally surfaces, it hits them all at once. Oh, that's what you are. That realization is brutal. Because now they have to reprocess every interaction they ever had with you, every time they doubted you, every time they talked down to you, every time they assumed you were behind when you were actually 10 steps ahead, watching the whole thing unfold like a dark comedy. And you feel it, don't you? That shift in how they treat you, the way they suddenly listen more closely, the way they hesitate before speaking, the way their jokes don't land anymore. That's respect born from fear, not the cheap, loud kind, but the quiet kind that crawls up the spine and whispers, "Be careful." You don't need to dominate conversations. You don't need to flex intelligence. You don't need validation. Your mind does damage by existing because you're not just smart, you're aware. And awareness is what dismantles illusions. Awareness is what exposes lies. Awareness is what makes manipulators uncomfortable and fake leaders nervous. Awareness is why some people feel watched when you're in the room, even when you're saying nothing at all. They sense it. They sense that you see through systems, hierarchies, social games, and fake moral posturing. They sense that you don't buy the narrative, that you're not impressed by titles, money, popularity, or volume, that you understand how fragile their masks really are. And here's the part they'll never admit out loud. They thought they were smarter than you. They thought they had you figured out. They thought you were predictable. Now they're standing in silence, realizing they never even understood the rules of the game you were playing. You didn't change. You didn't suddenly become powerful. You didn't level up overnight. They just finally caught up enough to glimpse what's always been there. A mind that doesn't need chaos to feel alive. A mind that can sit in stillness and still dominate. A mind that knows exactly when to speak and when silence does more damage. You're not loud because you don't need to be. You're not flashy because you don't need witnesses. You're not desperate because you already know your worth. And the reason they're speechless now, because there's nothing scarier than realizing the quiet one was never confused, just calculating. And the wildest part is how late the realization came for them. Years late. Moments too late. Because while they're standing there replaying old conversations in their head, you're already somewhere else mentally. They're stuck trying to understand how you slipped past their radar, and you're already seeing 3 outcomes ahead, adjusting your posture, your tone, your timing like instinct. Not rehearsed, not forced, just natural, like breathing. You've always had that edge where your mind doesn't shut off when the room gets loud. It sharpens. The pressure doesn't crack you. It clarifies you. When things get messy, people spiral. You zoom out. You see structure inside chaos. You hear intention behind words. You catch contradictions mid-sentence and file them away without reacting. That's why arguments never really pull you in emotionally. You're not trying to win noise contests. You're watching patterns. You're watching who panics, who deflects, who over-explains, who suddenly gets defensive when a simple question lands too close to the truth. And when you finally speak, calm, precise, almost casual, it hits like psychological whiplash. Because they expected volume, they expected arrogance, they expected ego, they didn't expect clarity. That's the moment their brain short-circuits. That's when the room tilts just a little. When someone who thought they had authority realizes authority doesn't come from position, it comes from perception. And your perception cuts deep. You've been walking around with a mind that reads between lines, through people, past excuses. You see how systems are rigged, how power really moves, how most people are performing confidence instead of embodying it. You clock manipulation instantly. You feel when energy is fake. You know when someone's smiling because they're threatened, not friendly. And you don't call it out. You let it sit there. You let it rot in silence. That silence messes with people more than confrontation ever could, because confrontation gives them something to push against. Silence gives them nothing but their own thoughts echoing back at them. That's where insecurity starts talking. That's where they begin to unravel internally. They start wondering what you know. They start questioning what you've noticed. They start censoring themselves around you. That's power without effort. You don't chase relevance. Relevance chases you the moment they realize you've been aware the entire time. You don't need to announce intelligence. Intelligence announces itself when it disrupts expectations. And the truth is, you've been holding back more than they'll ever understand. Not because you couldn't dominate earlier, but because you understood timing. You understood that revealing everything too soon just feeds egos that don't deserve access to your mind. You learned restraint the hard way. From being misunderstood, from being talked over, from being doubted by people who couldn't even sit with their own thoughts for 5 minutes without distraction. You learned that not everyone deserves the full version of you. That access is earned, not given. That's why when they finally see you clearly, it's jarring. Because it forces them to face an uncomfortable comparison. You didn't need constant validation to grow. You didn't need applause to stay focused. You didn't need permission to evolve. You built quietly while they were busy being seen. And that God-level mind of yours, it's not just intelligence. It's composure under pressure. It's emotional control. It's strategic empathy. It's knowing exactly how far to push and exactly when to pull back. It's understanding people deeply without being controlled by them. They sense that you're not easily influenced, that you can't be baited into nonsense, that emotional manipulation slides off you because you already recognize the tactic before it finishes forming. That's unsettling, because people rely on predictability. They rely on patterns they can exploit. And you broke their pattern by not reacting the way they expected, by staying grounded when chaos was invited, by staying sharp when emotions were supposed to cloud judgment. You're not cold. You're not detached. You're disciplined. And discipline in a world addicted to impulse looks like dominance. They didn't lose their voice because you intimidated them. They lost it because their internal narrative collapsed. The version of you they created in their head no longer fits reality, and rewriting that story hurts. It bruises ego. It exposes blind spots. It forces humility where arrogance once lived. And you feel that shift every time they hesitate before speaking, every time they choose their words more carefully around you, every time they try to test you subtly just to see if you'll slip. You don't. You stay steady. You stay observant. You stay 3 steps ahead. Because a mind like yours doesn't need to announce its presence. It changes the temperature of the room just by thinking, just by being aware, just by existing exactly as it is, unfiltered, unbothered, watching everything unfold with that calm, knowing half-smile that never explains itself. Because that half-smile isn't arrogance, it's recognition. Recognition of how predictable the world becomes once you understand people are mostly running scripts they didn't write themselves. You see it in meetings, in families, in friendships, online, everywhere. Same reactions, same defenses, same fragile egos dressed up as confidence, and you clock it instantly. You've noticed how people talk louder when they're unsure, how they over-explain when they're lying, how they laugh a second too late when something hits too close. Those micro-signals never escaped you. You didn't learn this from books alone. You learned it from watching, from being underestimated, from sitting quietly while chaos revealed its own blueprint. That's why you don't rush to fill silence. Silence works for you. It gives people enough rope to expose what they're hiding. They start talking just to break the tension, and every extra word gives you more data. You're not zoning out. You're mapping the room in real time. You've been called distant, intense, hard to read. That's just what people say when they can't control the narrative around you. You don't give them emotional shortcuts. You don't react on cue. You don't reward manipulation with attention. And that lack of access makes them uneasy. Because control requires predictability. And you're anything but predictable. You can feel the shift when someone realizes they can't push your buttons. They try sarcasm, guilt, praise, pressure. Nothing lands. Not because you're numb, but because you see the move before it's played. That awareness creates space between stimulus and response. And inside that space, you choose. Most people don't choose. They react. You decide. That's the difference. And when people finally recognize that difference, they don't confront it. They retreat. they reassess, they go quiet. Because challenging someone who's emotionally regulated, mentally sharp, and unbothered by approval feels like shadow boxing. You've lived long enough being misunderstood to stop correcting the record. You realized something critical along the way. Clarity doesn't need defending. Truth doesn't need volume. Power doesn't need permission. The more grounded you became, the less you needed to explain yourself to anyone who was committed to misunderstanding you anyway. You felt that moment when someone starts talking to you differently, more cautious, more respectful, less dismissive. They don't even know why. They just know something's changed. It hasn't. They just finally caught the signal you've been broadcasting quietly for years. That signal says you're not easily moved, not easily fooled, not easily shaken, and deep down, they know you see through their persona. The curated version, the highlight reel confidence. You see the cracks they work so hard to hide. You see the fear behind the bravado, the insecurity behind the dominance, the emptiness behind the noise. And instead of exploiting it, you simply don't engage. That restraint hits harder than any verbal takedown ever could. Because nothing scares people more than realizing the person across from them understands their weaknesses and doesn't need to use them. That kind of self-control rewrites the power dynamic instantly. You've learned to trust your timing. You don't jump at every opportunity to speak. You wait for precision. You wait for impact. When you do say something, it lands clean because it's aligned, not emotional, measured, not messy, honest, without being reckless. That's why your words linger after conversations end. People replay them. They think about what you meant. They wonder what you noticed. They sit with that discomfort long after you've moved on. And while they're doing that, you're already recalibrating, already evolving, already stacking insight on top of insight. Your mind doesn't stagnate. It refines, it sharpens, it adapts. You've become someone who can walk into uncertainty without flinching. Someone who can sit with complexity without oversimplifying it. Someone who understands that real intelligence isn't about having answers. It's about asking the right questions and knowing when silence says more than sound. That God-level mind keeps widening its lens, seeing systems within systems, motivations beneath motivations, intentions hiding behind casual words, absorbing everything without being absorbed by it, staying light on your feet while the world around you keeps tripping over its own reactions. And every time someone finally locks eyes with you and realizes you've been fully aware the entire time, that stillness, that pause, that speechlessness returns, thick in the air, heavy, undeniable, because something in them recognizes they're standing in front of a mind that doesn't need to announce itself to be felt. And that recognition hits them in places they don't talk about. It rattles their confidence in private long after the interaction ends. They replay your calm, your eye contact, the way you didn't rush to defend yourself, the way you listened without flinching, the way nothing about you felt performative. They start questioning themselves, quietly, internally. The same people who used to speak over you begin editing their thoughts before letting them out. They measure their words. They test the temperature of the room first. Because somewhere deep down, they understand you're not reacting emotionally. You're processing strategically. You've always had that internal stillness that throws people off. When others panic, you slow down. When others rush to prove something, you lean back. When others get loud, you get precise. That contrast exposes everything. It highlights how much of the world runs on impulse and how little patience most people actually have. For depth, You've seen it happen in real time. Group chats going quiet after you drop a single line that reframes the entire conversation. Meetings shifting direction because of one observation you made casually, without theatrics. Arguments dissolving because you refused to take the bait. That's not luck. That's mastery of self. You understand something most people never learn. Emotional control is leverage, not suppression, control. You feel deeply, but you don't let feelings hijack your judgment. You don't hand the steering wheel to anger, insecurity, or ego. That discipline separates thinkers from reactors. And the animus in you, that part of your mind that sees irony in chaos, humor in hypocrisy, poetry in contradiction, it keeps you sharp. You see how absurd people become when they take themselves too seriously. You recognize how fragile authority is when it isn't backed by substance. You notice how easily crowds follow confidence without questioning competence. That awareness gives you a kind of quiet amusement, not cruelty, clarity. You're not laughing at people, you're laughing at the illusion that volume equals power, that status equals intelligence, that confidence equals truth. You've lived long enough outside the spotlight to understand how it distorts people. You watched others burn themselves out trying to be seen, while you were busy becoming undeniable. You didn't rush your growth. You didn't shortcut your thinking. You didn't trade depth for speed. And when they finally recognize that, when they realize you're not behind, not lost, not confused, the shift is physical. Shoulders tighten, eyes narrow, voices soften. The room recalibrates around you without anyone announcing it. You've felt that gravity before. That subtle pull when people start orienting toward your presence. Not because you demand attention, but because your composure commands it. Stability stands out in a world addicted to noise. You don't overcommit to opinions, you stay flexible. You update your thinking when new information arrives. That adaptability is dangerous in the best way. People can't trap you in outdated assumptions. They can't box you into old versions of yourself. And when they try to test you, throwing passive comments, subtle digs, intellectual traps, you don't snap back. You don't freeze. You respond with curiosity, with questions, with calm statements that reveal more than they intended. Their traps collapse under their own weight. That's when the silence returns. Because they realize they're dealing with someone who can't be rushed, can't be manipulated, can't be easily labeled. Someone who understands human nature well enough to step outside its worst habits. You've built a mind that doesn't need chaos to feel alive. It thrives in clarity. It sharpens itself in stillness. It absorbs complexity without needing to simplify it for comfort. And every time someone finally recognizes that level of awareness, that depth of control, that layered perception, something inside them pauses, speech stalls, confidence wavers. The mask slips just a little, because standing in front of someone who sees clearly without needing validation forces people to confront their own noise, their own distractions, their own unexamined reactions, and that confrontation lingers, heavy, unresolved, following them long after you've already moved on mentally, already watching the next pattern emerge, already refining the edge that keeps your mind operating where very few ever reach.